Audio. All right, here we go. Hello, anyone who's here already or is watching the recording afterwards. Let me just get everything set up. Sync that with that. Yes. Muted. Thank you. Dismiss. Everything's up and ready. Using Noah's bathymetric viewer site instead of Google Earth because Google Earth lags out the stream too often. Oh, okay. Let's see. Gotta be less or just a bit more than an hour at most because I have to call my mother at 8 Eastern for Alaskan. So I cannot, even if people start saying things at the end when I say I'm going to stop, I actually have to literally get off this time. So it looks like 2026 is the year of everything, where literally everything is going to happen. You showed up yet? Nobody? For anybody who is already here or who scrolls back this far, the occasional Max Ogier music recommendation from the limited amount of stuff I listen to. This time, there's this one, Come Alive. It's a song technically from a game, but I like the regular version, don't, uh, which is this one. If you type in Sanzi, Come Alive, the script version, which is where it takes the game noises out of the song, and also specifically for this one, the normal audio version, because there is a quote unquote more intense version where they kind of randomly inserted some Hong Kong screamo death metal into the middle of it that kind of ruins the whole flow of the song. But this is on the list of the very few things that I listen to. Okay, let's see. While I wait for people to show up, I'll throw in one random item of good news for anyone who is already here or who has scrolled back. So, are we there? Okay, it is working. So, Algiers in Algeria or Algeciras uh, is actually going through with the expansion. I'll just draw rings and then some lines or whatever. Uh, is actually going through with the expansion of its subway and metro public transit system. First spoke. Don't you dare start doing that. But I first mentioned that a few years ago when I was doing my Algeria Rising section of a random stream. But yeah, it was just a plan at that point. However, since then, it has actually been getting built. So they are actually doing it. So there you go. There's some obligatory good news. And I guess here's technically this counts as good news too. A successfully intercepted ballistic missile, just a random clip that I decided to bookmark. That was one of the ones over Syria that was heading for Turkey because Iran has, as I said last time, decided to just go full schizo mode and is attacking literally everybody in response to specifically the US and Israel attacking them. So they've started even launching stuff at Turkey now. The only ones they haven't launched anything at yet around them are the nations to the east of them and Azerbaijan. Uh, you could count Armenia, but technically Armenia is supposedly Iran supposedly considers Armenia an ally, so one would assume that Armenia would not be on their attack list to begin with, but you can never tell, since, they're just going full toilet flush right now with everything. All right, we got anybody? Here we go. All right. And someone who was asking for it, congratulations. You got what you wanted. As to Joe's question, China's Taiwan plan is uh, is kind of blocked by season. I mean, they like I've said before, it at this point has to be either this year or next year, but it kind of has to be in the fall because that's when the waters in the strait are the calmest, and crossing the strait would only take like 6 hours instead of 10 or more than 10. If they decide to go at some other time of the year, then they're being immeasurably stupid for no discernible reason. Even if you want to count that as doing something unexpected for the sake of surprise, adding that extra 10 hours onto the crossing the strait is not the amount of extra losses you'll suffer by taking that choice is not worth any amount of quote unquote surprise. And actually, it even if that were the case, if the world worked the way people think it does, and surprise invasions were actually a thing, and like in Call of Duty, you could just teleport forces by cutting from one scene to another. It would still be in China's best interest to kind of sit this one out for a minute and wait till everything's pacified and the oil situation fully renormalizes, so that they will have their regular pre-war access before they start their war. I mean, and then also up until that point, they can continue overbuying and stockpiling like they were up until this point. All right. One more thing for like 20 seconds worth of information while we wait for just a few more people to show up. While everything's going on over there, some stuff did go down in Ecuador. U.S. flew in some Delta Force and some SEALs, and we have been raiding some of the bigger, more violent cartel groups and narco like militias down there, and have been like busting into their mountain mansions or whatever and smoking some dudes. But like I said, only about 20 seconds worth of information. Not like major global scale scene type stuff, but it's a thing that happens the not last night, but the night before last night. Okay, so uh, everything started Friday night, Saturday morning, right as I left to West Virginia and was outside of internet access for almost 48 hours. But got back, streamed on Monday night, and even more has happened since then because this is kind of a big deal type thing. So, strikes on Iran all around continue from the US and Israel. And now, soon, although they won't be doing anywhere near as much, Saudi Arabia says they're going to jump in and start bombing some stuff too because they're really pissed that Iran attacked them. Iran did strike a few buildings in Riyadh and also was dumb enough to go for the Saudi sacred cow that you just don't touch. That being Ras Tanura, their major oil export hub, through which about uh, down technically now it's only about between two-thirds and three-quarters of their oil exports go, as they, for security reasons, over the last dozen years, they did build up a extra export terminal out on their west coast with pipelines leading to it. That is a 2 million barrel per day terminal with somewhat excess capacity to go beyond that, but not by that much. Like it would probably cap out at maybe three. So for the time being, they are considering diverting that extra bit, spare bit of oil out through that one. But a lot of it was still going through Ras Tanura. Iran struck Ras Tanura a couple times. Thankfully, it did not. The strikes did not hit any of like the critical infrastructure, like the transfer pipelines and the loading and offloading stuff. It hit a few. If you see some of like the pictures from it, you can tell obviously by the like char black smoke. It hit a few of the oil storage tanks. I think three, but Ras Tanura has like literally a billion of them, so that's not really an issue. If they had hit like the actual pipelines leading into the site and the ones that do the transferring onto the oil tankers, that would be a much larger issue. But yeah, Saudi Arabia is pissed. So Saudi Arabia is apparently going, although they don't have anywhere near the capacity of even Israel, as small as Israel is, they're apparently going to join in to some degree, at least, and do a few bombings of their own. But knowing their history in Yemen, they're probably going to be bombing random hospitals because that seems to be their favorite type of target. So them joining doesn't strategically mean all that much, other than more like random Iranian civilians are going to get killed, because somebody has to feel the crown prince's wrath. Let's see. I'll check chat in 1 second. But okay, random casualties up to this moment. U.S. casualties still sit at 6. I'll start writing stuff out. U.S. are at 6 military personnel killed, all of whom were in that. They were all in the same room at that one tactical monitoring screen building in Kuwait. Oops, need to draw another one back. Let's see. In Lebanon, as of the last time I looked, it was 52 mostly random civilians, no matter how much media may want to spin it otherwise. 52 random Lebanese people have been killed as Israel, in retaliation for Hezbollah launching rockets from the southern portion of Lebanon, has included bombing apartment buildings in Beirut as part of its retaliation, as is seemingly standard at this point. Uh, the UAE, 3 random people were killed as Iran launched strikes against and got through the defense network, managed to hit some of the luxury apartment towers, and they weren't empty. There were people in them. Thankfully, it was only 3 people, but it was three. It was three of the like normal human being, like workers, cleaning staff, etc. It wasn't like they took out like any billionaires that were staying there or anything. Let's see. 2 random Kuwaiti citizens were killed. One. Let's see. One when portions of an a incoming ballistic missile crashed and cut up some little kid, and another was in their car on the highway when one of the incoming ballistic missiles that got through missed its intended target by a few hundred meters and ended up hitting a highway instead. Let's see. Uh, Israel is at 21 for random citizens that have been hit by missiles striking Tel Aviv. Uh, and hold up, Oman is at one random citizen. In Iran, the total death toll as of the last I looked was 1,097. A roughly 700 or so. We don't have exact numbers, but roughly 700 or so were a mixture of Revolutionary Guard personnel, regular army personnel, because those are two separate things, and government officials like the various leaders and secretary of like this department and such that have been assassinated. And then 300 to 400 of those have been collateral damage, random Iranian citizens. Those are the known casualties up to this point. But there obviously will probably be more, and the numbers may have updated since last time I looked at them even. But that's how how it was up to here. Darn, can't get rid of them in here. Oh, you came back with an alt account. Well, you're limited in the number of those you can have. I will just keep banning them. Yeah, it was not an air defense crew. It was a Kuwaiti F-18 pilot who got a little too jumpy and kind of fired at the first thing his radar locked onto. So he's on the Max Ogier permanent blacklist for bringing any form of harm to the best aircraft ever made. The the thing with the Kurds regarding that question is we don't know. There, for the last 24 hours, it has been constantly back and forth. Yes and no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. We have we have Israel and the U.S. both saying that the Kurds are uh, both going from Iraqi Kurdistan into Iran, and the Iranian Kurds themselves are starting an uprising. We have the government of Kurdistan itself saying that's not happening, Iran saying that's not happening, but they would deny it anyways, even if it was, and the regular government of Iraq saying it's not happening. So there's ambiguity regarding that for the time being. Gonna have to wait like a day or two to see if satellite imagery ends up showing up or something of like results of like firefights along the Iraq Iran border in the Kurdistan region, or just in random parts of Iranian Kurdistan. But supposedly they are starting some kind of ground operation against the Iranian security force, and supposedly the CIA has been uh, getting them weapons and munitions and stuff for many months, uh, either since the 12-Day War or since before the 12-Day War, even. So that is potentially happening, but that's going to take a few more days to actually see whether that is what's happening or not. Meanwhile, also, supposedly to quote unquote protect its borders from any potential Iranian launches at them, Azerbaijan has completely mobilized, as in all reservists have even been called in, has completely mobilized its military and has started moving everything up to the Azeri border with Iran. Uh, how they're assembling all their dudes is somehow protection against ballistic missiles. Don't ask me, but that would kind of imply maybe they intend to do something. We'll see. I don't know. Uh, but that is, they are starting to gather everybody up there around the border. So maybe they want to have a go at it, but have to wait and see how that turns out. Strikes have continued all around. We're at over 300 launcher vehicles destroyed, as the actual vehicles that launch the ballistic missiles are the limiting factor to when Iran will no longer be able to launch anymore. And the number that they have actually launched or gotten off each day has been decreasing. Let's see, it was three for this is blue is drones, red is missiles. They were able to get off 350 on the first day. Now they've dwindled down to today, they were only able to fire 50. And drones, even launching Shahed suicide drones, they were able to get almost 800, or actually 800 itself the first day. Now that's kind of whittled down closer to like 200 or 250. So the launching equipment, launcher vehicles is the limiting factor, and those are what has been the primary targets of a lot of the airstrikes. More of the Iranian Navy was taken out. So the sub wasn't going anywhere because it was docked, but their main submarine was taken out at port. A small frigate slash corvette that actually went out into the Strait of Hormuz and acted like it was going to do something was hit. So those two were taken out, and then down around Sri Lanka, for some reason they had a frigate way out here, doing whatever, just having fun with it. They that was hit and torpedoed actually, the first time since World War II that the U.S. has actually torpedoed an enemy vessel. And here's the recording of that strike. You can watch it if you want. You can find it on plenty of channels. I'm not actually going to play it because that is moment of death type stuff. Oh, and here's just a funny meme. This is literally me right now. This is quite accurate, except not in my case, not actually accurate because I don't stay ahead of anything. And some of the more recent strikes have been hitting the actual missile component factories that were struck back during the 12-day war, but were getting repaired. So those are now double out of commission. They were actually close to being able to restart though, and I don't remember which city uh, it was in, but Iran's primary Iran's primary electronics and computer locale where they put stuff together for their weapon systems and for their guidance systems. That factory was also taken out today, along with prime continuing strikes on all the the various command centers, and then uh, individual district directorates, and then subdivision directorates and stuff. With again the idea being taking out, this will be like the top brass under the leader, and then you have the regular generals under that, and then under them you have like the sub generals if there's kind of some kind of like in between rank, and then under them you'll have your a couple hundred colonels. And then under them you'll have uh your lieutenant colonels, and on the enlisted side you'll have all your I don't know the army ranks, so I'll just pull Air Force ranks. Your chief master sergeant. That's how high my dad got. That was the highest enlisted rank for the U.S. Air Force before you usually would end up at the Pentagon. But he wasn't interested in bureaucratic Pentagon stuff. He wanted to stay at Otis. And that was the correct decision because Otis Air Force Base was awesome. That's where the F-15s were. Um, then and then on them, you keep going down the rankings, and the idea is to just keep cutting down the chain until eventually you get to guys whose contingency plans that they're trained on does not in any way include things that they're supposed to do relating to ascending to like more than two or three runs of a higher position on the ladder, and who are eventually you're going to get down to people who are uncertain whether they even want to try and reconstitute things to begin with. So continuing down the command chain bit by bit as well. Let's see. Hello. Uh, they into. Oh, okay. That was an Azeri joke. Okay. Let's see. What else has happened? So we got all that. As of like 4 hours ago, there's been a series of rolling blackouts across Iraq. Most likely is suspected to be because of a cyber attack on Iran's part, as Iraq's electricity grid like control network is not semi-enclosed, but still kind of connected, like a lot of other countries tend to be. Theirs is apparently instead kind of just flat out connected to the regular internet. So it was a lot easier to take theirs down via a cyber attack than it would normally be for not necessarily most countries, but most countries that have a large power grid at least. Let's see. What else do we have here? Traffic via Hormuz continues to flow at about 10% of normal rate, and the expectation is that it will still be drastically hugged or constricted in reduction for a few more days, as once the stair steps for the drones specifically, because it's a bit hard to hit moving targets with ballistic missiles. Once the drone launches that have continued going down since the start end up reaching negligible numbers, then the shipping companies said they'd be all right with starting to move stuff again. And we also put forward, along with a few other allies' navies, that if the shipping industries that operate the tankers want, with every like grouping of, we'll say, like 3 or 4 tankers or whatever. We'll have them we'll have them get accompanied by a destroyer or two, so that the CIWS system can take out any incoming drones. But we're working on getting that convoy system set up, but also waiting a couple days for the remaining drone launching capability to get down at least, I believe they said, below 100 launches per day, since for the most part, most of Iran's launching stuff has been targeting on land things. As they did, again, they did launch a few at some oil tankers, but they have been predominantly launching stuff at on land targets. They did also hit one of the UAE export terminals, but just like with Ras Tanura, they thankfully did not hit any of the like transfer and loading slash offloading pipeline stuff. They just ended up hitting a storage tank. Uh, the UAE's port does not have a billion trillion storage tanks like Ras Tanura does, but it does have enough. Let's see. Electronics plants, Hormuz, Iraq blackout. Combat has been ongoing across portions of north central and western Iraq with the various pro-Iranian militia groups, but they've been getting engaged on ground by the Iraqi military uh, under air cover from the U.S. Air Force. So that combat is ongoing. And supposedly Israel has launched a new but smaller than previously incursion into southern Lebanon to engage with Hezbollah again, while also continuing to bomb random apartment buildings in Beirut. Okay. I think that's it for the Iran war update stuff. But we do have other things, some of which are tied in. They're I'm pretty sure it was in the capital. I'm pretty sure it was in Islamabad, but there was a large group of several hundred people that were doing a pro-Iran protest outside the U.S. embassy, and they tried to actually like climb the walls and storm in, and the guards there opened fire, and the death toll from that came in at 23. Meanwhile, Pakistan's own war with its neighbor Afghanistan continues. There are now larger scale engagements going on at various points. Don't take these points directly. I'm just drawing random X's. But there are now larger scale engagements between the two happening along the border, sometimes slightly inside Pakistan, sometimes slightly inside Afghanistan, with like not just infantry footmen anymore. Now they are actually including some vehicles, and in some cases, since it's like up in the mountains, in some cases it's one of the groups over here, and then the other group over here. In some cases, they're holding back. They actually launch them from launch vehicles. I'm just drawing this for dramatic effect. But in some cases, they are hiding on opposite sides of mountains and just throwing drone waves at each other. That is a thing that now has become a feature of modern mountain warfare. But Pakistan has also continued bombing Afghanistan in several locations, various government points in Kabul, along with a few actual bases where the Taliban showed its lack of experience with more organizational, like official warfare, being its lack of experience with being a party who has actual like equipment as opposed to just guys with guns, as they kind of, they had a bunch of nice stuff left behind, JLTVs, Humvees, some MRAPs and everything, a few helicopters that were unable to be taken out when the US pulled out back in 2021 or 2022. And they kind of just uh, did things Russian army style for storage and just kind of like were jamming them all together in just a big, like almost pile on some of the old bases. And so Pakistan was able to pretty easily take out a lot of that stuff because it was all just clumped together in big groups. I kind of, I really was giving them too much credit and kind of assumed like maybe they would have known enough to like think that they should like try to scatter some of it at least. But they just kind of left it there and were gradually grabbing and pulling out like a couple new Humvees or whatever whenever they needed them. So wasn't the smartest choice. But starting a new war wasn't the smartest choice either. But again, you go back to that psychological analysis paper from 2023 or whatever, analyzing the office lives of the Taliban, where kind of got the insight that they really uh, were spiritually unwell and just don't know how to joyfully thrive in life unless they are in some kind of state of like eternal combat. So their new choice was Pakistan, apparently. So that is ongoing. No official count, no trustworthy official count that I could see for casualties from that. There are almost certainly at least a couple hundred on both sides, but apart from that, vague generalization, there's nothing I can really give you. Potential tensions now between Ethiopia and Sudan, as Sudan says that a recent round of suicide drones was launched at them. They are saying, the Sudanese government that is, that it was the RSF that did it, but they're saying that they were launched from within Ethiopia. And so Sudan is now kind of accusing Ethiopia of harboring the RSF and I guess by implication siding with them. So you got some stuff stirring up between those two, and I don't think that would immediately lead to anything because the government is still trying to combat the RSF. They have pushed them back quite a bit. They've constricted their region of control down to here. So they're getting pushed back to only controlling, for the most part, the Darfur region, where they are continuing to massacre people by the thousands every single day. Because, what else does anyone ever do with their lives but murder thousands of people? So that fight is still ongoing, but they have, now said that Ethiopia is either deliberately or potentially uh, either deliberately letting the RSF launch stuff from inside Ethiopia or just maybe not putting that much effort into trying to stop it. So we'll see where that new tension goes between those two, along with the whole potential upcoming Ethiopian invasion of Eritrea, which, like I said before, if Ethiopia is intelligent and does intend to do this, the smarter thing for them to do would be to only invade the southern strip of Eritrea, if sea access, quote unquote, is what they're actually after, and it's not just psychosis like everyone else is going through, and an attempted, what's the term, necro imperialism, to revive like the old Ethiopian empire, which would involve conquering all of Eritrea. If it is about sea access, then the smarter thing for Ethiopia to do would be to just invade the southern strip, because literally no one lives there. For all intents and purposes, the entire Eritrean population lives in like roughly that triangle. So there's no one there, and there's no Eritrean military presence there, and correspondingly, Eritrea probably wouldn't go too hard in regards to trying to get it back. The only immediate responsive threat Ethiopia would potentially get from any major military power for doing that is maybe from Israel, because Israel owns a lot of islands off the immediate coast of Eritrea. And if there's new ownership of the coastline, Israel might not really feel too comfortable with that, since they kind of have a good arrangement with the Eritrean government. So from their air bases on those islands, they might actually bomb and airstrike the Ethiopian military if they do try to invade Eritrea. Oops, no, delete. But anyways, yeah, new tensions and accusations going on between Sudan and Ethiopia. So that is an ongoing development as of the moment. Chat, chat. Ah. Uh, not yet. They remember almost, almost everybody does have inventories, storage tanks, and for natural gas, uh, underground storage reservoirs. Everybody does have inventories to draw from, because supply and demand immediately meeting each other second by second, down to the milliliter, has never and will never be a thing. That would require teleportation existing. So for one, they have storage inventories they are drawing down on. For two, remember, again, the supplies don't teleport. There are still also all the ships that left right before uh, things winded down, that are like still on their way to various places and etc. And stuff is still coming out, just only about 10% as much as normal. The idea, like I said, is from the shipping companies, is that they'll be willing to start up again either if that convoy system gets properly established, or the number of Iran's like daily drone launching capability drops below like 100, like down into only double digits, whichever option comes first. But to respond, oh, you missed you missed some of that in the earlier stuff. But uh, let's see, similar similar to what I already said in a previous stream about the Eritrea Ethiopia situation. If there's if the Kurdish uprising thing actually is real, and they manage to break off, uh, they're the most likely group to do that second only to the Balochistan and the Balochistan portion. Uh, but the dynamics of whether they be a quote unquote recognized independent nation, it gets thrown up in the air because that's on the whims of the UN. Uh, but the Kurds in the other regions of Kurdistan, with the exception of Turkey, because Turkey suppresses them too much, have consistently maintained fully functioning like separate autonomous systems. So even if if this does happen and there's like split ups, even if there's no recognition, they would probably be able to semi conjoin, at least with the Iraqi portion. And we would have a de facto, is the term, I guess, a de facto Kurdistan, like separate independent entity in all but name or all but UN recognition, similar to Taiwan's existence, basically. I don't. I'm not putting anything down on this. I don't know if Azerbaijan really does maybe intend to do this, to go for a liberation of the Azeri portion, as there's 16 million people up in northwestern Iran, almost all of which are Azeri. Uh, I mean, Azerbaijan, that is something Azerbaijan has secretly wanted for a while. Uh, they have been, again, they have like called up even all of their reservists and everything, and have been slowly, or sorry, not slowly, quickly, because it's only been a few days, assembling uh, a huge portion of their military along the Iranian border. So take that to mean what you will. I don't know if they're actually going to go for it. They would probably be at least partly counting on Turkey's help with that, though. And Turkey has not shown any signs of like moving anything over there. But I guess if they really did, and Azerbaijan was doing okay on the ground on its own, Turkey could maybe just provide air support. But I mean, Turkey now would have a reason they could state publicly for being willing to get involved with everything, since Iran has now also started launching stuff in Turkey, as they're continuing to expand the schizo web of shooting at literally everything and anyone around them, including nations who literally had nothing to do with the U.S. and Israel strikes. The only, like I said, the only ones they haven't fired anything at are the countries on their eastern flank. And, for them, it might only be a matter of time at this point. But yeah, the CIA has been sending weapons and munitions and stuff to into the Kurdish groups within Iran, and also to the regular Kurds within Iraq, who then also give them to the Kurds within Iran. The Azeri stuff would be between Azerbaijan and Turkey. The other angle that one might assume that the Pentagon would have tried, if the actual idea was to have Iran splinter, which I'll reiterate, that is almost certainly not actually on the goal list. That would potentially be counted as like maybe a side bonus, but the idea and desire from the strategic standpoint within the Pentagon's decision making is just to axe Iran off of the strategic map as a quote unquote red player. Whatever new government it gets whether it just gets a immediately uh, like kowtowing, acquiescing version of a similar oppressive government, just like what the end result ended up being in Venezuela. That would be fine in their eyes. If it does transition into a no longer Islamic Republic and into like a regular democracy, Iran, that would also be fine. If and they don't, the people don't actually want the monarchy back. But even if they did want the monarchy back, the for all the Pentagon cares, that would be fine too. The All that matters is if Iran is removed as a antagonist. But they would consider if it does fragment, like the Azeri portion, like joins with Azerbaijan, or the Kurdistan portion breaks off, even the Balochistan portion breaks off. That would be seen as like kind of a bonus because that's more chunks, that's smaller individual actors that would be easier to pound if they started anything, and removes additional potential rebound power that Iran could get in the future if it ever decided to reconstitute itself as the Islamic Republic again. But I was leading into that with people might assume that apart from the Kurds, that the U.S. would be like trying to give stuff to the Balok group, but in that case, that would be a no, because a lot of that would have to be given through Pakistan for like secrecy. Otherwise, you would like we can't literally dock at Iranian ports in the Balochistan province to offload stuff. That stuff would have to be smuggled in over the land border with Pakistan, which Pakistan would not be okay with because they are already, for 3 years now, they've been in constant fights and actual military clashes with their own Baloch separatists. As the Baloch group collectively, this is their general region, has made it pretty clear to all parties. They've been clashing with the Iranian security force for the last 3 years, Pakistan for the last 3 years, and even now clashing with the Taliban. The Balochs are one of the main separatist groups out of all different like separatist groups worldwide that have made it pretty clear that they are actually in this for it, and they're gonna get their independence one way or another, regardless of how long it takes. They're not going to take no for an answer. And even with regarding that, same thing as with Kurdistan and whatever. Uh, if they did succeed and started getting like complete separate governance, there's a chance that everybody might not recognize it at the UN Council or whatever. So we just kind of end up being a gray zone nation that is a separate functioning nation, but no one officially acknowledges is a separate functioning nation. There are we got 15 minutes left before I literally have to stop this time. Not a I plan to stop, but I actually have to get off. So some of the few other things, Russia Ukraine stuff. A Russian helicopter crashed in near Rostov, or it might have been further down in Krasnodar. Uh, a LNG tanker out in the Mediterranean, as most of Russia's natural gas was formerly exported to Europe, and that was done via pipeline networks. They only have about billion cubic feet per day is worth of pipeline that goes to China. They were uh, intending to build a new additional 4 billion cubic feet per day pipeline, but they kept running into conflicts as the Chinese wanted it to be built by Chinese companies and to be under full Chinese ownership. And they kept arguing over that until late last year. Russia kind of just gave up on that and just said yes and signed the papers. So that's under construction now, but that would still take a few years. So Russia, via port up in the north, Novorossiysk, Russia has been getting additional gas that China has ordered to it via LNG tankers, one of which was apparently struck by a surface naval drone in the Mediterranean and went big, big boom. Let's see. So ways down here. Don't worry, this time I know for a fact I did get it. Yeah, so it looks like a sunrise. It is not. This is a big boom from many miles away. This is what happens when you boom a compressed a giant compressed container of a few billion cubic feet of natural gas. Is you get what looks like visually, it might be too small for you guys, but it kind of looks like a hydrogen bomb detonation from far away. So if you were ever wondering what what an LNG tanker exploding looks like, that's what it looks like. And Russia said that because of the strikes on the pipeline network uh, last week, they are now having to curtail additional oil production by 250,000 barrels per day. So they were roughly around uh, down to 8.5, although their exact numbers have been quote unquote classified for the last year or so now. So it can only get ballpark ranges, but rough range minus 250, that would mean they're somewhere roughly around 8.25 or between 8.2 and 8.3. Let me look over the seats again. Let's see about that. Oh, yeah. And you can check another box on the uh, Max Ogier predicted the obvious future list. So Polska, made a big public announcement and said that publicly, not even hiding it. Here, let me draw the cone and then the circle. You got the 3-point warning. So Polska publicly, like full straight faced, announced that yeah, they're gonna start making nukes. They're and they're not waiting around for anybody's help or permission. They're just gonna start doing it. So that ended up exactly as expected. Poland's gonna have nukes eventually. Saudi Arabia still wants them, and actually, I started to realize is probably secretly funding their own nuclear project with all that embezzled, funneled money laundering from the line. If you guys are familiar with the line, that was a delusional Saudi Arabian mega project that was supposed to be a 500-meter tall, 200-meter wide, 170-kilometer long skyscraper with silver coated windows. And its cost was estimated at $500 billion. Also, they intended to build the Cube, in Riyadh, which was going to be a 500 meter by 500 meter by 500 meter cube building with, I kid you not, actual gold plating on its outside. So uh, those fell through, and they also had a new project they were going to start. They were going to build a floating city in a literal floating city in the Red Sea that was going to be the Octagon, and it was going to be octagon shaped, but not just octagon shaped. It was going to be composed. It was going to be an octagon composed of individual octagon like platforms that would all be coalesced and tethered together to form a big octagon to do the Megatron Voltron assembly. That got axed as well. But I realized, maybe these would work as like money funneling for something else they might intend to be doing. But so, to the surprise of hopefully no one, Poland is developing nukes. Really negative IQ if you're actually surprised by that. I'm sorry. Chug some water. Okay. Let's see. That is uh, Sudan, Ethiopia, Iran war stuff, Russia, Ukraine, Polska nukes, the Ecuador stuff, and on the others. Okay, that is everything this time. So I literally will be cutting off in 8 minutes, no matter who says what. But let me look at things. Okay. Uh, from Libya? Uh, I don't think Libya. These things aren't very big. They're like the size of a little personal fishing boat. The surface drones, like literally, you could just have a large like vessel out in the ocean, even just a small tanker, even just like a really small container ship, and just open like a back hatch or whatever, and just let one of these surface drones out onto the water from it. It literally could have come from anywhere. That's actually going to turn into like a really decent seaborne terrorism issue in the like upcoming decades. Let me sip some more water. Uh, I do feel like I'm forgetting about something, but I always end up feeling like that. I feel like there was something down in Southeast Asia that I'm forgetting about, but whatever it is, I can't exactly remember it. Uh, it's not Thailand and Cambodia. They've been quiet for a while. They're actually holding to their ceasefire for the time being. Or was it? It was. Oh, I think there. It was some oil and gas discovery stuff, but I can't remember where it was. Was it? Uh, no, it was only small stuff offshore of Malaysia and Indonesia, at least for the moment. Uh, damn it. No, my brain's officially broken. I can't remember. Oh, okay. Uh, uh, Turkey nukes. Uh, they they would like them. That much I can promise you. Uh, yeah. As as to whether as to whether or not U.S. strategic decision making would have issues with it, uh, probably they would see some risks coming from that down the line, since they're probably already well aware of the eventual conflict we're going to come into each other with. Uh, but yeah, there's also the Israel threat, but Turkey is ultimately, no matter how much they want to do necro imperialism like everybody else is doing, uh, they, for the most part, have been pretty intelligent in a lot of their decisions. Externally, internally, especially with like internal financial management, as the Turkish citizens will gladly let you know, uh, their government's decisions have been horrible. But externally, in terms of geopolitical plays, they've remained actually pretty smart. So I don't, I really doubt, even if they did have them, they would just arbitrarily start throwing nukes at Israel, because they kind of know Israel would immediately uh, fire back and just wipe them out in retaliation. And also, they kind of know that would bring down like retribution force from more than a few other nations in response to that. But it would probably fall into the category of the Pentagon would just sort of ambiguously not commit to doing anything about it, because the only way to really stop it uh, would be for one, you'd have to bomb a bunch of stuff, but Turkey would turn on you for that, and you'd end up having to do an actual conflict with Turkey, which would just be a bit much to justify and deal with. So it will probably fall into the another a similar mountainous nation. It will probably fall into the North Korea category of it's definitely not something that's desired, but ends up kind of getting allowed to happen anyways. But I could be wrong in that regard. We'll see. And we are right at the time where I literally have to go now. So, well, let me make sure Dude Bro never came back with another alt account. Maybe. Iran isn't that big on letting people out, uh, and Turkey's also no longer all that keen on letting people in or through. So, not specifically through Turkey, but I mean they could filter in through other means. But that again, yeah, that would require that would require this ending up like a multi-year thing and fully a fully national implosion civil war. because it was when Syria happened, it wasn't just like uh, a couple days of bombs and shooting, and then boom, everybody up and grabbed their bags and ran to Germany. It turns into that when it's a prolonged, drawn out civil war where there is no return to normal life in sight. But anyways, I have to go now, so I will see you guys around next time. And date is a bit late for early this month, so I apologize for some of the videos being late, but I'll work on it when the data gets released. But anyways, see ya.